My name is EvaNietoBaker, Sioux City, Iowa, in December 5th, 1978. I own a tattoo, piercing, body mod studio. People would walk in and try to get in, and we would help them. My kids would go to school. I've got 3 kids. My kids love to wake up at 6:30 in the morning. They would wake up earlier if we would allow it. My husband would go to work, we would meet up for dinner, we'd have dinner at home and, play with the kids and do our routine, like everybody. I think one of my employees said something about how he had a customer that was a nurse, and she said that there's this virus that's coming and it's gonna change everything and we need to be aware of it. And I was like, I don't really know what that's about, but I've heard things like that before, so I'm sure we'll be fine. The government said 2 months of closure for studios, salons, and tattoo studios were closed for 2 months. And so after that, everything changed, for sure, for everybody, but for us especially. Yeah, for those 2 months, it was very scary. I was at home, the kids didn't have school, so I would have to, try to teach them and keep up with what they were learning and what they needed to be learning. Yeah, I'm just a very busy person. I love to stay busy, and then just all of a sudden having to stay home with my children and having to be a teacher and taking care of them at the same time. My husband was working full-time still, and so then when he would get home at 5, I was just so stressed out. I just said this was my time for 2 months. At 5 o'clock, he would come home, I would have dinner with him, and then I would go and paint. I focused myself into painting a huge area of my house, which needed to be done. So I felt like I was accomplishing something, and I was relieving my stress at the same time. And it turned out great. I am not meant to be a teacher. I have a lot of respect for teachers after those 2 months. All 3 of them being at completely different age brackets. It's hard to try to teach each one individually and get their attention, keep their attention, and still maintain my sanity. After those 2 months, I would take appointments only. I would have people come in the door, sanitize their hands, wear masks, of course. I would lock the door behind them. I would give them my undivided attention and work on them. And then after they left, I would lock the door again until my next appointment. Maybe in the back of my head, I was feeling a little relieved that I wouldn't have to deal with the public like I did before, just people walking in, who knows if they were sick or not. I think the future feels a little bit more fragile, and it feels a little bit more real to know that we lived through 2020, and then we're still living through it, What pops into my head is just standing on a ladder in the room I was painting to relieve my stress in the evenings, and listening to the radio and listening to the CNN, listening to the news about the COVID cases rising and people dying, and I was just crying, crying alone, not knowing what the future was gonna hold for us, as in the world, in our family. I was scared for my children. I was scared.
Support for Facing a Changed World, an oral history of the COVID-19 pandemic, comes from the Margaret Ann Martin Everest Foundation. the Kind World Foundation, Humanities Iowa, the Friends of Siouxland Public Media, and listeners like you.